Hi everybody, this is Janet D, the PT. As a licensed physical therapist, I am coming to you today about a gestational diet, right? All right, so this is for the women who are pregnant, 27 weeks, failed the glucose test, and now you're being told, okay, you could either do a diet to keep your sugars in check, or you're going to do insulin, right? Okay, so I failed the exam twice, right? I failed it. I took that juice, I sat there for 4 hours, and I failed. I failed miserably, okay? But I failed for a couple of reasons, okay? One, I did what everybody told me to do, right? Eat for two, okay? Two, I was stressed out and I wasn't keeping my emotions in check, right? Okay, but when I was told that I either had to do a diet or take insulin, I chose to do the diet. And you want to know something? I shocked all the doctors because not only did I do the diet twice, okay, but I succeeded, okay? I was able to keep all my glucose numbers under where they were supposed to be, right? I kept them under, and I felt great doing this, okay? And wow, who can say that when they are in their third trimester of pregnancy, they are taking a diet and what? It's making them feel better? That's what I'm going to show you. So this is how we are going to succeed with gestational diabetes diet, right? Okay, so I did sit down with a dietitian and it was covered by my insurance. So that was a great starting point to know about where my sugar levels should be and kind of the beginning handouts of a diabetes diet, right? Okay, so one of the great first things to start off with is carb counting. You have to do it. I know nobody wants to, but I mean, that's what we have to do. Okay, and it's only 12 weeks, right? 12 weeks. You can do any kind of diet for 12 weeks. Okay, so how to succeed. We start with 30 grams of carbs for breakfast. Okay, so what are some successful ways of doing breakfast? Okay, so I'm old-fashioned. I really like cereal. Okay, but I had to find what was going to be the best cereal for me, right? And yes, I did. I measured how much cereal I was going to have in order to stay under that 30 grams, okay? Now, a lot of sugars, actually a lot of cereals have high sugar counts. So this is something where, yes, you are going to spend extra time in the grocery store trying to find what options are available to you, okay? So, yes, I did my cereal in a cup, right? Why did I do it in a cup? Because one, it was already portable. Two, that was all that I could have. So once the cup was empty, my breakfast was done. Okay, I also did sausage and egg on flatbread. Okay, so what is great about having a sausage and egg on flatbread was that the sausage is my protein, which helps to even keel the bread part that I was eating. Okay. And of course, meeting with a dietitian, they can give you a lot more ideas, but this is what worked for me. I also kept it very simple and boring because I can't mess up boring, right? If I add in too many variables, then I'm not being, I'm not going to be able to succeed if I'm adding in too many things. Okay, so of course I was still working as a physical therapist through my pregnancies. That's right, lifting and helping people and on my feet for long hours, blah, 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 right? Okay, but after 2 hours after my breakfast, I could have a snack. And you better believe, oh my gosh, after those 2 hours, I was ready for a snack. So, of course, at work, I'm trying to stay as cleanly as I could and easygoing, right? So I would do like a granola bar that was quick and portable. I had a lot of nuts and cheese sticks, which again were great for work because I needed something quick and easy, and then I would go off and I would see my next client, right? Okay, and then, so I would have my snack, right, after 2 hours, okay? Checking my blood sugars, making sure that I was within the numbers that they told me to be, okay? So they usually say, I believe it's under 140 for during the day. Fasting has to be under 120, okay? So those numbers, they mean more when you're really getting into this. All right, so then I would get to my lunch, 45 to 60 grams of carbs that I could have for lunch. Okay, but do you know all these times that we go out to eat for lunch? Really? Guess what? I can't eat half of that stuff anyways. I don't know why I can't type at the same time. Okay, so I did a lot of soup and crackers and, oh my gosh, peanut butter was my friend and savior. That's right. And guess what? At lunch, I could actually have a fruit. Now, okay, sometimes the fruit that we can get from the store is like crazy enlarged superpower fruit. Okay. And I could not buy that because it was too big for my serving. So I was looking for more of like a fist size of an apple, right? Or the length from thumb to index finger for my bananas and things like that. So that really helped me out. And one of the tricks about diabetes is you can have a fruit after 11 a.m. Okay? Now, the reason why having fruits first thing in the morning is not good for you is because it spikes. It gives you a sugar spike. And when you go from fasting at nighttime to having fruit in the morning, it's just going to skyrocket you. So that's not a win. Okay? So then we would go after 2 hours from my lunch, then I would get another snack at work again. And you better believe I had my purse was so full of food every time I was going to work. But this is what I had to do, and I did great with it. So you just got to keep going. So some of the things that I wouldn't be able to have during my morning snack would become my afternoon options, okay? And then I could also add in something about like a yogurt, or if you're feeling really gutsy, you could have something with chocolate, but you would have to be mindful of where that 30 grams of carb would come from. So a lot of checking the labels. I did a lot of label checking. Okay, what would I do for dinner? Oh my gosh, you better believe we were making a lot of meals at home, okay? And for when I was pregnant with my first child It was a lot easier to do this diet than when I already had a child and I had to do this all over again. It was a little bit harder. So the dinners, we would do our fish and chicken, and I would do, oh my gosh, I would do ribs, and I would do pizza. But guess what? My portion size, especially for ribs and pizza, would be a lot smaller than what I was doing. Okay, so again, it comes down to watching your labels and being mindful of, okay, this is how much I can have. For the few times that I did go over, I made sure to walk around and exercise after eating, because it would help to speed up the breakdown of the sugar. So then that way my insulin numbers, my glucose numbers wouldn't be as high when I would have to jot it down in my food journal. Because the doctors, they will ask you about your food journal. They will ask you what your numbers are, especially when you're fasting, when you're going from your evening snack to waiting for breakfast. Okay, so my evening snack, after I got used to looking at labels and everything, I was even able to find an ice cream that I could have, which was a really nice treat. I didn't feel like I was giving up life on this diet. I just had to be smart about it. So I had to find brands that were good for me in order to make this work. Okay, so I would sometimes have an ice cream. I could do like 3 cookies, something silly like that, right? But that's what made me feel like I wasn't losing who I was. Okay. So, what would I do to help myself out? Okay. So I really drank a lot more water, which, by the way, is just great for us in general, but also because if I was drinking more water, that meant that I could eat more carbs rather than having to count the carbs in my drinks. Okay, but you're telling me like, okay, what can I do if I really like coffee? You have to find a different caffeine alternative. Okay, where if you really need that kick without having the coffee with the cream and the sugar, there are so many great options out there. You just got to find what's going to work for you. But for me, really upping my water intake allowed me to eat more of my carbs. Okay, so that's just me. Okay, so this thing about protein power has to do with when you have protein with your sugar, the protein slows or gives you a steady release of that sugar. So then that way you don't get those sugar spikes or the crashes, right? Other things that I did was I really did prep for success. So I would have my snacks all ready to go. I would have my meal ideas, especially for dinner. And if we ordered out, okay, I literally would check out the websites on these different restaurants or takeout places. I would literally look at their website to see what were my options to keep me within my carb count. Okay. And I really learned a lot for that. So I totally will have another video about that. Okay. The other thing that they don't really emphasize too much with diabetes is how to keep your stress in check. And you're telling me, what? I'm pregnant. I'm trying to juggle all this stuff. And you're telling me I need to keep my stress in check? Yes, because you could be on the best diet, but if your stress is not in check, guess what? Your numbers are going to be higher. Your body is not going to have the energy to process the sugars effectively if they're worrying about the stress and handling the fight and flight mode of life. And then definitely to keep moving, especially after your meals, so then that way you can process the sugar better. If you have any specific questions about your gestational diabetes diet, please reach out to your dietitian. Like I said, I think I got 1 or 2 free sessions, or what was covered by my insurance, as soon as I was diagnosed with gestational diabetes. So please check it out. If you like my video, go ahead and press like, share, subscribe, tell your friends and neighbors. I'll catch you later.